there's something tangible about this thing that it sits on somebody's desk day after day, year after year, that's way more powerful than any Facebook ad you could spend, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, for sure. And again, nothing against Facebook. I use Facebook advertising, but at the end of the day, it does.
We're live on Facebook right now.
Right
you
now,
can type
right?
a comment in the chat.
Yeah. No, so a couple things. Number one, it does create a lasting impression. That is, like, you kind of talked about that. But the other thing I love about it, there's kind of two things. Number one is it can take you back to a place. We've all got that concert t-shirt, that specific coffee mug that you got. Or like, I think back to, it was back in, believe it or not, I remember the year. It was in 2004. I was actually given an award for Salesperson of the Year with the company I was in, and they gave me a watch. And I wore that watch for 15 years. And every time I like put it on or whatever, it really did take me back to the day on the trip, where I was, how I felt. It done right, branded merch can take you back. And, and the other thing I would say about done right, promotional products, branded merchandise, they can affect human behavior. And I think that's what I love working with clients to help them do that. Whether that's, driving somebody to your new website or to your actual physical location, or honestly, like, we work with a lot of folks in HR or safety where it's just like, we just want people to do things safely, or, attend a wellness seminar, but done right, a piece that's not crappy. Our mutual friend Danny Rosen would call it brand fill, right? The stuff that is cheap and crappy, no, that isn't going to affect any human behavior. But done right, it really can make people do the things that we know that they should do. And I think in those moments, it not only is it fun, but it actually creates a positive impact across the world.
So awesome. And there's a lot I want to unpack here, because Playful Humans, we're talking about playing for a living. And there's three things that come to mind here, and I'll let you pick the order. So we're going to do a little choose your own ending podcast here, Kirby.
Okay. I love it.
Number one, promotional product businesses are really like kind of your own sort of franchise model. Everybody can buy the products, but it's like you have to set up shop, make your own company and business, and you have to find a way to express your voice through these products that anybody can get online anywhere. So you're turning a commodity into something special. Choice number two. I feel like that is the hard part of it, that promotional products that make noise stand out. You said they have some sort of quality or essence or playfulness that makes it more special than everybody's got a mug and a pen out at a trade show. You don't care. You picked up 5 other pens. What's really going to make a difference or make you remember that pen has to be something playful or special. Yeah. And then number 3 for me, you mentioned too, I feel like it's products often relate to prizes. And I think there's like a built-in gamification here that whether it's with your employees on a safety program or sales incentive, or just you're wearing your logo merchandise today, and I got my branded, microphone stand, that there's some sort of affinity and magic that's created inside a company culture or inside your community of clients. 3 huge topics. Yeah. You get to pick. Which one spoke to you most?
Okay, so I think I'll go with the last one there. And I think that, kind of the point of it is, and I'm not sure it was the last one or the middle one, but the one thing you said was everybody's got a coffee mug, everybody's got a pen, everybody's got a calendar, right? And I think that you're 100% right. And I think when you're not thoughtful about doing merch, then you can fall into the category of that brand fill, that throwing stuff away. On the other side, the good news, if you want to stand out, is a lot of people do that. It's 2 weeks before the event that they're going to, and they say, I need something to hand out. And generally speaking, that's when they come up with, not thoughtful, not intentional, kind of crappy giveaways. But if you are thoughtful and intentional, everybody's got a coffee mug. But if you give them one that's really, really cool, they'll throw away the one they're using and use yours. The same is true with your binder, your mouse pad, your calendar, whatever, right? But that takes being thoughtful and investing. But that's also true of every other marketing media you do, right? If you throw together a really crappy Facebook ad, you can do it really fast and you can spend a lot of money, but it doesn't mean it's going to be effective unless you've actually thought through the whole thing. And I think that that's true of any marketing sort of media that you jump into, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so let's take that to the second part of the question then, which is how do you use products for the gamification and the
Okay.
prizes and to inspire change? Because I think that's what the magic is. Like if you print a bunch of pens, it doesn't matter, and a
Yeah.
bunch of mugs. But if you put the pens in a mug and you set it on the receptionist desk at a
Yeah.
dentist's office where they have to fill out the forms, those things are going to get used and seen a lot, not
Yeah.
not thrown in the trash. And people always steal the pens,
Yeah.
and
That's
so
right.
that they end up in somebody's pocket and
Yep.
back on their desk, and you're creating something. There's like a purpose for it. You're
Yep.
creating an action. And all the way to the extremes. I'm sure you have a favorite example of when there's that perfect like product
Yeah.
promotion prize like fit. What makes something cool, special, or delivering joy?
Yeah, so I think it's funny because I think the same question is for this is the same question as when I'm interviewing people on delivering marketing joy, and they're saying, hey, you want to create a great digital marketing campaign? You got to know exactly who your customer is. What's that avatar? Who are they? What do they like? Well, the same thing is true with branded merch. One of my favorite questions to ask yourself is, where is your perfect prospect when they realize they need you? Where are they? Right? Reach them there. Right? Like, and so I think that is the kind of moment when you actually create a product that is in the exact right spot at the exact right time. But the
Do you have
gamification
an
side,
example? Because one came to mind. My favorite one I ever did was for a plumbing company. You could custom print on urinal screens, and they did them at like Arrowhead Stadium and the concert venues. So it says, like, call Joe the plumber. Well, you're standing there not doing anything but staring at this target.
yeah, no,
It
yeah.
was really a beautiful thing that I'll always remember. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's exactly right. I think of my problem is I think of a bunch, and it's really about the idea of, okay, if you are in the car repair business and you can hand out, doesn't have to be expensive, but those sticky calendars that tend to stick on people's dashboards, right? Especially in this, let's call this a couple years ago, but it's like, man, the moment I'm on the side of the road and I have that, the same is true with that plumber that you do the magnet wipe on, wipe off board that goes on everybody's refrigerator. Well, they're just in the right place at the right time. And so that is in that moment, there's, again, every pizza place in town, right? There's, you don't have to overthink it sometimes, and it doesn't have to be expensive. The other example of the gamification side of it is I always think of nonprofits. The
Mm.
nonprofit side does this better than the for-profit side does sometimes, because you've seen United Ways or big capital campaigns where they're like, okay, if you donate $100 to this, you get this coffee mug. But if you donate $500, you get this T-shirt. And I don't know if that's gamification, but it is a way
I
to
think so.
incentivize people to do. And then if you give $500, you get all three or whatever. And what they've found is that the more that you tie things to a specific thing, not only does it increase the giving, but it also increases the affinity to the organization. So it's almost like it gets rid of buyer's remorse when it comes to donating, because now you have that piece that kind of reminds you of, hey, I feel pretty good about it. And so I love that because it is kind of near and dear to my heart, because we have an ability to make a difference.
Now, here's another one that I'm maybe not as quite up on. This could be a tough choice, but I feel
Okay.
like the magic these days is in personalization, that you can actually get
Totally.
one promotional product now. So,
Hmm.
especially for like a charity event came to mind is like if you had an auction winner
Hmm.
and you put their face or their logo or their kids' names on something,
100%.
that's when things really get interesting. And I think people still think about often, or maybe just they default to buying 10,000 pens,
Mm,
but maybe one really cool custom shoe
yeah.
or something could change the game and be a lot more interesting. How do you think about really creating meaningful giveaways,
Mm.
either for employees or customers?
I love that you brought this up. I think you're 100%, 1000% spot on. And it's actually one, and this is a weird little caveat to the pandemic, is one of the things that I saw is that people during that time, everybody was working from home for a window there, and you're like, well, I'm not going to spend a you know $20 to ship this one pen, right? Because the pen is $1.25. I'm not going to spend $10 to ship it. So what people started to shift to doing is to doing nicer things, individual nicer things. And that's when we got back to the technology of saying, you know what, we should actually put their name on it. And it raised like the game of just all of branded merchandise, and people it seemed like organizations all of a sudden were willing to spend that another dollar. And again, when you're already spending 25 on it, spend that extra dollar. And now it says Mike Montague on it. And nobody ever throws something with their name away. And especially if it's really nice. And so I think you're exactly right. And it's really, and the other piece I guess I would say is that the decoration technology has changed so that you can do it much easier, right? So even if it's, whether it's I'm actually looking around my office because I have personalized stuff all over the place, and it's really cool that the technology's changed so you can do the personalization side. But the other piece, and even this has changed since you've gotten out of the business, Mike, is more and more suppliers are making one-piece minimums. Well, if there's a one-piece minimum, then it's personalized. You just got to do one, so you could put the logo, but also the name on it. Even though they don't offer it as personalization, you can still do it. So I think in doing those, when we think creatively, we can really create an experience that is one of a kind.